Hey guys, thanks for watching. On this week's episode, I will be hunting Canada geese in Nebraska.
Yeah, I said yesterday that I got an ice eater over here and an ice eater over there. And I use them like I play the wind with it and use them to keep this hole open.
Pretty slow late season down there this past season, but I went down to hunt for a couple days and take care of some things. Make sure the well was running and also pull the ice eaters. The outlook never really looked that great. There were some birds around using the river, but not like normal. Join me for this hunt. I set up a nice spread of Dave Smith decoys, cook breakfast, and hang out in the pit. Watch the migration and see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. So I set up about, I think it's about 30, 2.5 dozen full bodies, mostly giants, but there's a few honkers in there, and then some of the one-piece sleeper shells. Normally I'd be down there the whole time hunting the whole late season, but with how slow it was this year, it just didn't make sense to be down there all the time. So I would go hunt for a couple days and come home for a few days and go hunt for a few. So we have 2 ice eaters out here on this pond, and this is how they were for the whole season. I have them out there so that I can use 1 or 2, and then also have them set up so that I can kind of play the wind and use the wind to open up the hole bigger. It also depends on how cold it is, how far apart you can have them from each other. They only open up so much.
Well, I forgot the spatulas in the truck. I actually took them home and washed them last time. So, right now I'm just frying these potatoes and flipping them with the knife. But this isn't the part I'm too worried about. It's if I make eggs. They're for sure gonna have to be scrambled, but even then, I don't know. We'll see. Might have to get creative. This is just some 93% lean hamburger. I'm hungry, so I'm going all out. I'm gonna have egg whites, 2 whole eggs, 2 pieces of toast, 2 bacon, some potatoes, fried potatoes. I might even do some oatmeal, but we'll see. So after, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, I mean, this is a lot, but that's what my egg whites look like. It's a lot easier with a spatula. Time to get this stuff on a plate. All right, Kingman? Well, about every 5 to 10 minutes, especially when I'm down here by myself, I like to go check on the birds, see if there's anything flying around. Let's go do that quick. A lot of the times we'll see the birds coming off the river over here. Basically wherever there's trees, it's the river. Not exactly, but for the most part, going that way. And then we'll also see a lot of birds come from over this way. See what happens tonight. I don't know if the snow is going to make it better or not. It still looks like there's a lot of parts of southern Minnesota, south central Minnesota that isn't going to get any of the snow, so we'll see. But I do know there's a bunch of birds in Minnesota yet that need to come down. So put a little shredded cheese on there. I think this taco blend stuff's pretty good. Cheese grater. No idea why we have this, but way better than that melted bent spoon. There's one plate. This is going to be a 2-plate meal.
That's an interesting takeaway. I mean, I haven't had gallonage since I was probably 10, 12 years old. It's not like what I remember as a kid, was to break the shell.
The dog's looking at me like, what about me? So I buy him these frozen chicken tenderloins.
That's impressive. Where you didn't cook it long enough. But this is like the long enough, right? Yeah. I mean, in my family, when you find a pellet, you got to kiss it. Right. Bill has an announcement. Dance, sing, but don't cry when I die. When I die, you say, he made it because I watched him as he walked through the years, hurt back or no back.
So is this what came to your mind when you were awakened?
If someone asks, I die.
Well, it's been a while. Better go take a look. Normally I have chairs all along there, but I took them out so I could keep the decoys right there. Last year here did like a permanent spread where we had everything obviously left out the whole season, so not doing that this year. Well, for one, the birds just haven't been here, so we haven't been hunting here as much. And when we did hunt here, it was earlier in the season, and we were duck hunting, so, and that was actually pretty good. But yeah. November was awful. December, awful. January so far, I mean, not looking too much better, but with the weather getting colder finally and some winter weather happening, at least somewhat somewhere north of here. There's birds down here now, but the hunting still isn't very good. But we've shot a few geese, Canadas, I should say. But last week I saw a ton of snow geese coming out, coming over us from the north, migrating through. But I think they have. I haven't seen a snow goose at all here in a couple days, so actually more than that. So dare to say that they've migrated through this area. So we're in northeast Nebraska, so I would assume they're all in Kansas and Missouri, SEMO, getting down that way. But a lot of the birds that we will see from a distance will either be over here to the northwest, and then also northeast and towards the river. And actually, you probably can't see it in this camera here. I mean, I know you can't, but there's a whole bunch of honkers coming down the river right here. Yeah, there's got to be about 150 of them. Mostly big geese, big honkers. Looks like a few smaller ones, lessers. They could be specks, but I'm assuming lessers. I'll give them the old college try here. There's actually another big flock coming up the river. They're on the Iowa side right now. That flock that I was calling at, the first flock that I saw there, they're making a bunch of noise. They might be looking at the river, but they're definitely pushing through. Oh, there's more coming from the north. They're coming right down the river, just like the last bunch did. Oh, we kind of got a two-peck here kind of looking at us. They're far, but... There's another flock coming too. Yeah, I said yesterday that I got an ice eater over here and an ice eater over there, and I use them like I play the wind with it and use them to keep this hole open. It'll keep the whole pond open to an extent, but when it gets really cold, I let the ends of the pond freeze up, and I keep a hole in the middle, and then you can set sleeper shells on the ice. I think that works pretty good for visibility. Typically, these birds bouncing around or migrating down the river, they go kind of back and forth. There's a refuge north of us, and there's a refuge south of us. The refuge north is, I don't know, give or take 10, 15 miles north, and the one south is same thing, 10, 15 miles south. It might be less than that as a crow flies or a goose, but driving, it's solid 15 minutes to north and solid 15 south. So, and then I also know that there's a bunch of birds south of us about an hour. Oh, we just need colder weather for the birds that use the river, because we're about 3/4 of a mile off the river here, and for birds to start using the river as a roost here, it's got to get really cold. I'm not super familiar with that part of the river, or with any of the river here. This is the Missouri over here, but it must be deeper or good current or a good sandbar or something, because they like to roost on the river over there. But seems like last year they only were there if it was really, really cold. So I'm assuming that means it's a spot that stays open. And it's been so mild this year that they don't need to use that part of the river specifically. So that's made it really tough here for us. But it's good to just see them passing through at least. I mean, it's been bad. We came here and hunted in November, and you might see 1 or 2 flocks a day. And 2 years ago, November like 7th or the 10th or something like that, it was the first week to 10 days of November last year, I should say. And there was a day where we had a big push day where, I estimated 12 to 14,000 geese flew over this, big migration. So it's just so behind, but everything's been behind this year, and so it's really been no different. I think some of the guys further south, if it gets real cold here like they say, they might have a good last week of their season, but pretty bad. I'll have to hop on my phone and see what the weather's supposed to do, because it's really clearing up here. It's like it's going to get sunny. It's cloudy, but it's bright. It just can be that fast. I popped up here and was looking around, and there was nothing, and then all of a sudden a flock came down the river, about 150 of them. And then just like that, there was four or five flocks. And 3 or 4 of them were going south on the river, and 1 flock was going north. I don't even know what that flock did, if they went down in the river. It's hard to tell. It looks like they could be landing in the river, but they could be landing on the other side of the river in a field over there, and I would never know. But probably river, but that's what you need. You need them trading back and forth up and down the river and keep hearing geese. Anyway, we'll be after them all day. So it's 12:13 right now, which yesterday was cloudy. It was more snowing. More snow coming down yesterday at this time than right now. Like I said, it's clearing up, but that's 2 days in a row now. About noon has been a good little push, but hasn't resulted in any killing or anything. But it's good to see them. Like I said, in November we came down here and sit all day, and you see one flock the entire day. I don't think we went a day without seeing at least a flock, but we went 4-5 days in a row with like 1 to 2 flocks a day and no ducks. So go back home, and we did some goose hunting there in December, but it was slow for Minnesota too. So yeah, I can definitely hear something to the northeast. He's over the river somewhere or on it. Well, there's snow coming, and there's definitely been some birds moving down the river. There's been flocks going by. I've probably seen, I don't know, 1,000, maybe 1,500 at the most, but definitely got some birds on the move anyway. Yeah, only a couple left. Couple minutes in there. That's a good little snack. We're gonna go check and see if there's any birds flying. Starting to cloud up again. Well, nothing over the river to the east. Nothing to the north. Alright, I think we're clear. Hopefully if anything does come by, they're loud and I'll hear them. But I'll be back up here, and I check every 5 to 10 minutes. Unless there's a bunch of stuff moving around, I've actually been calling it stuff, and there's birds around, then I'd be up here watching the whole time, but it can be a waiting game, so that's why we got it comfortable out here. Well, it could get interesting. 4:03 right now. I got just over an hour left to hunt, and the river straight north of me pretty much just erupted. There's all in all probably just shy of 1,000 buzzing around right now. There's a decent amount coming straight at me from the north, and then some are going southwest, going more out that way. Everything's coming from the north right now. They're probably still at least 2 miles out yet. I always do a spin around to make sure I don't have something closer so I can get busted. There's a bunch of them over there. They're spinning around on something. There's also an eagle flying over by them, so I don't know if that got them turned around or what, or if they're going down in a field over there. But there's one flock, caught 2 flocks that made it past going south. Oh, there goes another flock going south. Good when they come out like northwest of us like that. Usually that's a pretty good line for us, but these are going really west, which sucks, but it's good because it's the first time this year that I've seen it happen. So it's about 5 weeks, at least 5 or 6 weeks later than what, 5 weeks later than it was last year. So I let up calling a little bit. I was trying to get my phone, record them coming in. I let up for a little bit and looked up, and they were going the other way. So there's more geese right behind me, right to the north. So I have 50 minutes left, so that's good. Well, that's a wrap for today. Can't shoot anymore. Had a couple of close calls. Well, not really close calls, but I actually saw some birds move in. And they're using the spots on the river, and they're hitting a couple of feeds that they normally hit this time of year. Well, and a month ago, but that's the first I've seen any of that down here. Like I said before, it's 5 or 6 weeks late on it, but 2 weeks left to go, so it's could be worse, I guess. But yeah, so I haven't decided if I'm going to pick these decoys up or just put bags over them so they don't. I like having them look nice and fresh right away in the morning. No frost, no snow, nothing like that. It's not supposed to start snowing until like I think 7 or 8, but you know they could be wrong on that. They have been before, so I'll probably pick them all up here in a little bit. I've just been throwing them in the pit here, and then I set them back up in the morning. That way I don't have to deal with frosty decoys or snow or anything like that. I mean, it takes a little extra half hour, but it's worth it. So it is what it is. I'm gonna make some. I think I'm gonna make some chicken wings in the air fryer. But that's all it is for today, anyway. This isn't some like proven way. This is the first time I've ever done it like this. Normally, last year we had a big spread out. I can't remember exactly how many, but full bodies, silhouettes, I don't know, a bunch of Bigfoots mostly, some Final Approach, but we left that out last year all year, permanent spread style, whatever. And so I never did this once last year, but this year, well, we haven't hunted it at all really. November and December, I mean a handful of times, but no birds around. So this year I've just been setting a small DSD spread, picking it every night, and just throw them in the pit here. But today's the most I used, and it's not a lot, but probably 4 dozen full bodies and I don't know, 8-10 dozen sleeper shells. So usually I put them through one of the holes by the pit and just take them in that way, but I'm trying using the stairs this time, and I thought it would be a little better than what it is. But anyway, I just don't like frosty decoys, so, or snowed on or any of that. I'd rather, if I can only get 5 decoys out in the morning but they all look good, instead of 400 that are out there and half of them are white, covered in snow, ice, tipped over, whatever. Just a lot easier. So, but the geese are just getting here, so I have no idea if it's gonna make a big difference on anything or not. But today was the first day of actually seeing birds where they normally are. Not the same numbers obviously as last year at this time, but We'd already had a lot of winter by this time last year too, so.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, share it. Tune in next week for part 2. I'll be down there goose hunting again. And it's supposed to get really cold, so I end up pulling the ice eaters and goose hunt, hang out, cook. I'll see you next week.